I'm Louis Murad and owner of Murad Auctions. And Marty's introduced himself. Marty?
Hey, yeah, so we're so excited you guys are all here today. Again, as I mentioned, I'm Marty Murad. I'm one of our auctioneers, but I'm also the new business development manager here at Murad Auctions. So I'm going to be kind of leading up our new relationships in cities outside of Dallas Fort Worth. So very happy to be here and talk live auction with you today. And you'll see the BAS letters behind our name. That's Benefit Auction Specialist. And that is the designation that we received. So we actually did 24 hours of coursework for this. I was in Vegas for a conference in December where we met with 2 auctioneer instructors, 33 other auctioneers, just to invest time in education and learning what's new in the industry, what the latest trends are, so we can bring those to you, our clients, and our partners at Murad Auctions.
All right. So here we go with our fundraiser. Let's hire a professional auctioneer. So what we have done, we've been in business 25 years. Marty is giving our resume a little bit. I think February 1st, I'll be an auctioneer for 25 years and happy to serve Texas for that time. And we're continuing in the area. So we're happy that you guys are here and looking forward to hearing about your events as we go. And so we will get started.
And if you guys do have questions, please put those in the chat. Throughout, we would love to make this a conversation. So if there's things specific to your event, please let us know and we'd be happy to answer those.
Yeah, we'll answer your questions. So why hire a professional auctioneer? What's the point? What's the difference? Well, we're professional fundraisers. You get a new face, a new voice at your event. You get some energy with the live auction and the giving moment. You get the skills that we provide with the right speed, the right timing, and we understand the nonprofit's mission. And so we act as your emissary the night of the event and talk about your cause as well as conduct the live auction. So that's why we make a difference as live auctioneers.
Awesome. So today we're going to be talking through a few things, specifically live auction strategies, live auction games, and how to market your live auction. Those are the 3 main points we're going to cover. We also are going to do a brief Q&A at the end. So I think our presentation today will be about 25 to 30 minutes. So it should leave plenty of time for some questions, and then we can give you all some time back in your days as well. So I'll let Louis kick it off for live auction strategies and the starting point.
Okay, so live auction strategies. What do you already have? Why are we doing a live auction to begin with? You've got your people in place. So meaning you've got your live auction chairs, you've got the people that can donate something to you, you've got your Mark Cubans, your Roger Staubachs, the George Bushes in place. You have auction items that are donated that you want to sell live. So these are the components that get us started saying, maybe we should do a live auction. So what's exclusive to you? What's specific to your event that we can make happen? For instance, at the Dallas Zoo, they can offer dinner with the elephants. What do you have that's unique to your nonprofit that makes it exclusive? What places have you got donated? What people do you have in place who either donate or offer their items every year? So that's where we want to start as we build our live auction is what do we already have in place? Let's build on what we have and go forward from there.
Awesome. And I think just to add on to what Louis said here, I think he mentioned some big names for people. If you have a principal or a priest or a pastor, someone at the church or school, we have a lot of events that sell those people a lot too. So it doesn't have to be a big name, so to speak. But yeah, let's talk through building a profitable live auction and specifically the types of items that sell best. So we talk about experiences. That's a big one. And what are some unique experiences that you're only going to get here tonight at that live auction? So you may have someone who's involved on the board in NASCAR. Maybe they have an experience at Daytona 500, or like Louis mentioned, dinner with the elephants at the Dallas Zoo, or maybe you can take a local ride at your local zoo and take some photos with the family. So having things that are family friendly, easily accessible, local, those are some big key points for these items. Go ahead, Lou.
So part of your question is going to be, which items do people want? Well, you want to see what your board members want to go this year. For instance, do you want to go to Italy? So we've got an Italian cooking experience in Italy and Tuscany. We have a chef who will come in and make dinner in a fabulous place to stay. Is that something everybody would want to bid on? So either you got somebody who'll donate it, or we can get the package for you with a no-risk auction item, and we can help you build that live auction so you've got some energy in your live auction. Other places to go, trips of a lifetime. Here's a picture of Portugal on the next page. Here's another one. Trips you can get, trips we can help you get. Where do you want to go?
Yeah, so we also talk about what are some good, sporting events or concerts. Obviously, Taylor Swift has been very hot lately. One of the instructors from our Benefit Auction Summit was in Kansas City. She said that she was selling Kansas City Chiefs stuff and Taylor Swift. So for us, we do a lot of Dallas Cowboy packages, a lot of Dallas Mavericks. It's just good to have some variety, right? And for our packages, that we do have some consignment, but it's always better if you get a donated package, you're going to make more money for it. So we've got consignment packages that we can offer as an addition. If you're looking for something that you're missing, that's where we can add something in. Another thing we talk about a lot is a private chef dinner. And we have a few packages like this, but more so for you all, we'll help you consult and find a way to create this based on your donor base. So say you have 300 people coming to the event, you've got 12 to 25 board members. If you can find a board member that has a great house or a great venue that they own, and then you know someone in the community that's a chef, and maybe you have someone who owns a liquor store or has a wine connection that can do a wine pairing, you bring those three together, that's a great private chef dinner live auction item. And so we'll help you with the questions that you need to ask your donor base and your board of directors and yourself too to say, do we have the pieces we need to build this package from scratch? And that's something we can help with.
Right. Here's some other examples. Here's a hunting package, a shooting thing. People in Texas like to shoot things with guns. So dove hunts. Here's the Rough Creek Lodge. We had a Green Beret, John Wayne Walding, who used to offer shooting classes. It brought a lot of money. People want to be with heroes. They want to shoot guns. They want to learn about people's stories that are heroes. So these are all great packages. If you know somebody who's got an opportunity for a hunt, or even you have people sometimes that just want to clear out the hogs from their land. People love a hog hunt too. So hunting experiences do very well. We also have some great drivable. So a lot of people want to do drivable destinations. We've had great luck lately with Broken Bow packages. So Broken Bow, Oklahoma is very popular. It's 2.5 hours from Dallas. You can get there. We do these houses sleep 16 and above. So we've got Broken Bow packages. Everybody loves a warm weather package. So when we look at live auctions, we want that kind of diversity. Oh, we need a Mexico trip. We need a Broken Bow trip. We need a drivable trip. We need a chef's dinner. So we help you put the auction together. We're looking for things that can meet the expectations that a lot of people would bid on, and these fall into that category.
Yeah, so there are two trains of thought when we talk about the live auction order. So one is the bell curve, and this is one that we used to do a lot with our clients. And kind of the idea behind the bell curve is that you want to start with a low item. Maybe it's a signed sports memorabilia, or maybe it's all the wine that didn't sell in the wine pool, or all the whiskey that didn't sell in the whiskey pool. You just put it together and you do a booze cart, and maybe you sell it. So it's easy. It's something that starts at $300 to $500. Then you work your way up, and you want to have some variety too, like Lewis mentioned. Can we get some family trips? Can we get some international trips? And then you build your point up to your very best package, the one that you think will sell for the very most at your live auction. And at that point, then you'll come back down, and we want to have 8 to 10 items, right? That takes over this whole thing. But at the very end, what we recommend is putting in a really fun package. So maybe you have something like the auction I'm doing this weekend. We're doing a tank driving experience for 3. The value is around $4,000, and maybe our top package is 13,000, but everyone's interested in the tank. It's something you can't get anywhere else. Maybe you do a hot air balloon ride, or a package that's only valued at $1,000, but it's so unique and it's so easily accessible, and people are excited about it that has the potential to go way over value. So that's one thing we talk about, the bell curve, and Lewis is going to talk about the other way we like to highlight the live auction and order it.
So another way we do is a kind of a crescendo. We kind of build up. So we start with a fun item to get it started, get everybody warmed up, get the cadence for the auctioneer. And then we put the items in that build. And at the end, we come to our top package, which might be a package that brings us back to our donation levels. What are we raising money for? Let's say the pinnacle package at the end is the art that the kids touched, and everybody made this art package, and it hangs in our foyer, and all the kids were involved, and you're welcome to buy this package and take it home. By the way, that leads us to what our point is. And so after I get to the top package, I say, hey, you didn't get the top package, you're 10,000 still in your pocket. Let's go to the cash call. So we kind of build to a crescendo and then get the cash call. That's another way. It depends on how many items you have. And we always look at what starts and what ends, and that decides how we do either the bell curve or the crescendo, but they both work great. So, and Marty's going to talk a little bit about packages that can double. How do we do it?
Yeah, and we have, each of our auctioneers do this a few different ways. I know Wes Poole, one of our auctioneers, is on this webinar. He may do it differently than I do and differently than Lewis does. But the way I like to double packages is typically we want to put those towards the end, right? We don't want every single package to be doubled, and we don't want every single person in the audience to think that everything's going to be doubled, because we want to create that sense of urgency, and we want them to know there may only be one of these experiences tonight. But if we are doubling something, maybe it's a Cabo trip. It's valued at $1,000. I've got it up to 2,000, now 25, 2,000, now 25, 25, now 3, but about 3,000. Now 3,500. Anyone at 35? How about 4? Anyone at 4, 4, but about 4? When I'm at 4,000 and the bidding slows down, I have a winning bid currently at $3,500 and a losing bid at $3,000. This is my opportunity to capture both of those bidders in the room at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my winning bidder at $3,500. I'm going to say, now I've got you at $3,500. I have this previous bidder at $3,000. If you both will agree to do this trip, I'll sell it to you both at $3,000 and give the winning bidder a $500 discount. Now, what do you say? And that's when I turn my attention to the losing bidder and I say, will you do this tonight? Can you help us raise $6,000 for the school? If they say yes, then I'll say yes to both of them. And that's how we sell both packages and make sure we can get both bidders to commit to that. A lot of times when we do it a different way, where you just ask if anyone else is interested, you have to have them come up another $500, something they didn't already have that verbal contract with you for. So that's been my experience, capturing both of those bids at the same time, really raising some more money. And I know, Lewis, you have a story here with
Well,
chef.
I think one of the comments is, how do I get that second package donated? Let's say your chef donated a package because his kids go to school, or he's into to your event and he wants to help you. So how do you get the second package? I don't ask for a second package when I got a donor who's given us something and they feel great about it. Say, hey, if it goes really high, what would a second package cost? Maybe we'll buy it. He'll say, oh, you can pay for the food. Well, you got $1,000 in food and you got a $4,500 bid. You sell a second one. Now, it gives them also the opportunity to say, oh, I'll donate too. But we never ask for the second donation. We ask how much to buy the second one. And that might be a strategy to get people to do 2 packages. And it's very popular, but people are willing to help you out if you ask them the right way. So another point.
Yeah, great point. Oh, let's
So
see.
what are the
Okay,
things
yeah,
to
sorry.
keep in mind for the live
Yeah,
auction?
so these are some things we're going to talk through, just things to keep in mind for your live auction. So bid paddles, we want to have large numbers, and this is something where you can see this second bid paddle right here. Let me see if I can pull this up with the little
So these
arrow.
bid paddles are an 8.5 by 11 sheet cut in half. Now you should know that the big numbers in the middle here, the 386, is 190 point font. We need it to be that big, and we just found out what the point number was today. 190 points for the big numbers. That's what we need. And we customize these. We can help you get these. We can help them we'll lay it out for you. And there's a lot of things you can do with it, Marty.
Yeah, which I think is awesome. And so that's what we talk about is we want to make sure that it's legible, because when I'm looking at it as a live auctioneer, I want to make sure that I can read that number and it's not in a weird funky font that I'm not going to be able to understand. So I think that point about it being 190 font minimum, Claire brought that up earlier today, and I thought that was a great point. So Lou is going to talk about lighting.
Okay, very important, you guys. When you have a ballroom or whatever your room looks like, there's always dinner lighting and it's dim and everybody enjoys it. You've got candlelight or whatever you've got going. But when the live auction starts, that the lights need to come up so that we can see who's bidding on in the room. Plus, we want the donors themselves, the bidders themselves, to see each other bidding and make it a little bit more competitive. So, and make sure we don't have a spotlight for the live auction on the stage, because it'd be difficult for the auctioneer to see people in the room. Of course, we want to have professional bid spotters, but make sure before the event starts that you have the controls for the lighting, and that we talk about that way before we get started. Because I hate to go on stage and then say, gosh, can we turn the lights up? And people look around and go, well, I don't know. Do that in advance if you can. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, one of the other things we talk about is not having tall centerpieces. This creates a wall instead of a window in the crowd. So it's really tough because if you think about it, if you shine a flashlight on something, the light will go around it like this. And it's the same with my field of view when I'm looking past that. And same with my bid spotters too. So if we can eliminate tall centerpieces, it's going to make my job and the bid spotter's job a lot easier during that live auction when we're trying to fundraise money for your cause.
Sound, very important, folks. Most places, I should say 99% of the places we've been to, and we've been doing it for 25 years, the house sound is not adequate. It sounds great when you're in the empty room and you're testing the microphone. Make sure and get a professional sound guy, because if you can't be heard in the live auction, you miss that opportunity. So definitely we want sound. What happens is the room fills with people and then the sounds is not louder than they are, and we kind of lose the momentum. Make sure a professional sound guy has it. Usually we need a wireless microphone, so we make sure these things. And when we do the consulting in advance of our auctions, we'll make sure you have these things, but keep this in mind all the time.
Yeah, that's a great point. And we also talk about knowing where the potential high bidders are in the room. So I always ask, where's the money table? And typically it's at the front, right? The sponsors and the people who buy the big tables get seats right at the front of the live auction. Usually they have deep pockets and they have a lot of money to donate to the cause. And most likely they're already committed to the cause some way outside of just by their pocketbook. Maybe they are a board member, maybe they volunteer, maybe their son or daughter's involved at that organization. So I want to know who are the men and women that I want to meet with that night, and who are the ones that I should tell my bid spotters to focus on. Now we want to be very thoughtful about how we approach it with bid spotters too. We always coach our bid spotters. Whenever you go up to someone and they give you a bid and they're out and you ask them to get back in, ask them one more time if they're sure, and then leave them alone, right? Because we don't want to heckle folks. We don't want to pressure anyone into bidding. Ultimately, we are a representation of you and your organization that night. So we want to make sure that we're representing you with grace and doing it in a way that is a good reflection on your organization.
It makes a big difference if you can hire professional bid spotters. We always recommend a couple of bid spotters when we do events, and the dollars go way up. Volunteers are great, but it seems like during the live auction, a lot of times they're at the bar or somewhere else, and you don't find them. These professional bid spotters we hire have been through the Ringman Institute, and they have their own designation, or they are auctioneers themselves, and they do a great job. So think about hiring professional bid spotters. It'll make a huge difference in your live auction.
I think, Lewis, you're going to talk through the dinner and the importance of that timeline
Okay,
too, right?
timeline is a very important thing for live auction. A lot of people want to do the auction last, or they want to have the speaker first. Really considering doing the auction in the middle of your evening. About 90 minutes in is the time to do it, or when the entrees are late. What I found out is, well, we don't want to give everybody 25 minutes to eat. We don't have 25 minutes in a 3-hour event to give that much time. Once we get everybody eating and all the entrees are late, we should get started with our presentation so that we don't have people who leave after dinner, which happen sometimes. So we're going to capture them as the entrees go down or as the last entree goes down and get that thing started during dinner. We can talk about it for your specific event and see what works, but that's our general recommendation.
All right, so now we're going to start talking through how to engineer a successful giving moment. This is a big part of fundraising events today. I've had some events where, they just do a giving moment, and it's really important to plan ahead. So what we do that's unique from our other competitors, I would say, is that we will work with you and consult with you on engineering this giving moment, right? So advising you on the right things to say when we talk about mission moment. And we are going to do a mission moment webinar just talking about your mission, because that's a huge way to educate guests. You talk about donor bases and cultivating a donor base, getting people to come back to your event. This is a huge moment where you get 3 minutes to educate folks. And so we're gonna get into how you can showcase your mission specifically.
I think it's great. There's a lot of ways you can communicate these as well. And I think you've got to convey your mission. Why are we raising the money? You might also want to include what we've done with the money we've raised so far. Maybe this is our 10th year. Hey, folks, at the beginning, we were able to help 100 people. Now we serve 1,000 people. Or we provide milk for so many children. Or we, here's our partners. Here's what we come. Here's what our vision is of the future. But we need you for that vision for the future. We need you to dig a little deeper tonight. And here's why. So I think these are all the things we want to communicate in the mission. And we'll get into this a little bit more in a future webinar, as Marty said. But bear in mind that your auctioneer is your mouthpiece that night to make sure your donations come in.
Yeah, and one point I want to make here too is that I think Lewis talked about, having a person on stage. And a lot of times we've seen that the reason a video may be more helpful is if you are working with a scholarship recipient, a student, or a cancer survivor, these people aren't professional trained speakers, right? So maybe they're going to be more comfortable on a video screen than, getting up in front of a crowd of 500 to 1,000 people, however big your event is. Maybe that'll be a better setting for them to tell their story.
Sure.
And we do also want to talk about how we're going to use the money. So you can see here that for each of these donation levels, we love to get a PowerPoint slideshow and have just a couple bullets for each of these. And this is something that I believe is from the Murad website. And that's something that's nice, is that we can highlight these with our mobile bidding technology. But you can see that we just want 1 or 2 bullets for each of these. Like $2,500 is gifted as part of the annual. This looks like it's from the Jordan Spieth Foundation Scholarship for a deserving Dallas student. So these are things that we want to make sure. Oh, sorry about that. These are things we want to make sure that we highlight with everyone. So sorry, I was looking at right.
So you
right
know where the money goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll pass this on.
And it primes the pump.
Which is what we're talking about now.
So there you go. So yeah, get the pump rolling. Get the people to match the gifts if you can. A lot of times companies will do a challenge or a matching gift. If you can start with that, if you can start with a big donor saying, I'll match the first 10,000, or you have a matching gift from a corporation that you want to start with, we can highlight them. That's something we'll work with you on to see what resources we might have from big donors who come each year. So we'll talk to you about that individually.
Absolutely. So now we're going to get into our live auction technology, specifically our live thermometer and the donation scoreboard. So this is one thing that we really like to bring to events and there's a lot of unique ways we can do this, which I think is great. But working with Murad Auctions, it's rare when you have other auctioneers who will bring in the technology into the event. And since we have the power of our support team and our software, it really helps, us form a cohesive team where we're all working towards the same goal. We're all on the same team too. So it's really easy to communicate that. So what we try and do is live scribe the donations as they come in into the event management software, which allows for immediate checkout after the live auction is over. Also very helpful for your guests too, not having long checkout lines. And then guests really love being able to see those donations come in. We also have the ability to simulcast it at the same time, so can bring more bidders into your ballroom. We had an event in New Mexico where the highest bidder was actually not a cash bidder in the room, but it was someone who joined virtually. So think about if you're a school, maybe grandma and grandpa that live on opposite coasts want to help out and support their grandchild's school. So can we give them an opportunity to do that by leveraging our mobile bidding technology and this thermometer?
No, I think it's great. And if you look at this thermometer, what's so amazing about that is people want you to get your goal. So if you come up at the beginning and say, listen, I need $50,000, you got to ask for it to get it. I did an event not long ago. They said, hey, we raised 25,000 last year. That was great. We want to raise 50 this year. I said, folks, our mission goal is 50,000. Anybody have the 50,000? Somebody said, yeah, here's 50,000. I was like, oh, did I say 50? What I meant was 100. People want to see you get past your goal. But if you put it up on a thermometer, and we did one last week, it was the same thing. We got to 20,000. We were trying to get to 25. And as we got closer, people got more interested to see that red mark move to the top, and they will donate until you get it. You can even do it in such a way that, see, in this one, people's names show up as they bid, not how much they donated, but just that they participated. Well, you want to see your name up there, you're going to raise your hand for a certain level. And then everybody participates and everybody's name's shown. There's different levels of this. You can show names, you can show dollars, you can show, and there's different ways to do it. Marty's got another slide that'll show a different way with a boot. So it's there's just cool things we can do.
Yeah, and I think the boot is cool because you can customize it, right? If you have a theme, say it's a country western theme and you want to customize it with a boot. This was an event and one of our clients had this idea, which I thought was so creative and a really great way to kind of showcase their event and stick with the theme. And I think we can be really thoughtful about this too. I think some auction chairs, some development directors worry, what if we don't hit our goal? That's going to be really embarrassing if it's up there and then we don't hit it. Well, we have a plan for that. Maybe we were going to show some slides of our sponsors and thank our sponsors during it too if we don't think we're going to hit that max level. And if we do hit the max level, we had an event where, going back to this other slide, there's a video on our website you can watch for this, where we actually went and raised over $100,000, and we just changed the goal. We got the principal up there. She said, you know what, we're already past 50. Let's see if we can hit 100, and we did it. So there's ways we can be flexible on the fly, which I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's talk through our live auction games. So I think Lewis and I are both going to kind of talk through these. Everyone, pretty much from my experience, knows heads or tails. Paddle sweep is one we do at the end of the paddle raise. Last man standing is one that West Pool has perfected to a T. And Lewis, you can talk through those last three if you don't mind.
Yeah, so everybody needs to know how heads or tails works. If you haven't played that game, it's just kind of an icebreaker at the beginning. Everybody puts in $25. We ask everybody to put their hands behind their head or behind their tail. We flip a coin. If it's heads and your tails, you sit down. And the others of these, except for paddle sweep, which we'll talk about at the end, and last man standing is different. But live surprise, golden pig, golden envelope is just a different way to do the heads or tails. So you might spin. We have a spinner now. I don't have a picture of that today, but we can put everybody's name in a spinner, and you have an electronic spinner that spins the names and calls out a winner if you don't want to wait to play the heads or tails. But it's a way for everybody to give something. You can even use, as we see here, we've got the over under. So what's over? So you might give certificates. Let's just say, how many people did we help last year? Was it over 100 or less than 100? And then you've got a paddle that shows over or under. And the ones holding the over sign, no, we helped 150 people last year. So if you said over, you're still in. Same thing. Last man standing gets the prize. And we've got inexpensive prizes we can put with it. Same thing with whiskers and tails. Instead of heads or tails, it's whiskers and tails for an animal event. So and you can just change it any way you want. You can have a halo or a heart and say, which are these? Is this a saint or is this just a good person? So you can change it around. But anyway, these are fun ideas you can do, and it's icebreakers or it's extra money makers. And then we can talk about the paddle sweep at the end is all inclusive, or the last man standing, and the paddle sweep is, hey everybody, I know you already gave so much money, but how about just handing your paddle in for a $100 donation at the end, and we've got a prize we're going to draw for on that. So you could add another level and say, we're not going to count all the hundreds because everybody wants to give 100, but put something in. Well, you might get 30 paddles or 50 paddles, and there's another $5,000 or $10,000 that you can get. So that's another way to do it. Marty, do you want to tell about last man standing, or we'll talk about that later if you'd like?
Yeah, we can talk about that later if we want. And I just want to mention too, we do have an ebook that has 42 different games and revenue generators. So if you guys are looking for different ideas, a lot of these that we talked about, like Halos and Hearts, Saints and Scholars, our clients came to us and say, hey, we've got a creative idea for heads or tails. Let's try it this way. So we have so many fantastic clients that we work with, and they've been kind enough to give us their ideas and let us highlight them in those books. So if you guys want, you can go to our website and check out those books as well. And I know Lewis mentioned Last Man Standing. Basically, and Wes he's the expert on this, but Last Man Standing is ultimately where you are doing your very last level of $100. And what you say is that the last person to donate $100 will win a prize. Maybe it's a weekend trip to Vegas. Maybe it's a $1,000 Amex gift card. So you can set that standard and say now, but the thing is you have to make it very clear that every time someone raises their paddle, they're giving a $100 donation. So typically how it'll work based on what Wes has told me, since I've not done this personally, I know Lewis has too, but you'll get multiple $100 bids, right? And then at a certain point, the competition is so fierce, maybe you up it to $250, and now we're doing donations at $250. Then you maybe go up to $500, but you have to make it very clear to your audience that every time they raise their paddle, they're giving a donation. Because one thing that we want to be aware of too is that we've got to be clear about that, because we don't want to create extra headaches for the people doing check-in and check-out and reconciling at the end of the event. So we always make sure that we make that clear when we do that. So now we'll talk through.
We're gonna go ahead.
I was going to go through marketing your live auction.
Yeah. So the repetition's the key. People want to see things, I think, about 6 different times before they get it. So here are the ways we can market it. I think we got slides for each one, Marty. So if you want to flip through, I
Yeah.
think you got a slide. So the next one thing is that you email your live auction catalog out. Now you can either print a catalog or you can have an email catalog, or you might have both. So email catalog, that's one. Here's the next one, which is video in the mail. So you might say, hey, here's
Emails.
a chef talking about his package. We send a video out. Hey, don't make sure to come to the gala. I'll be there. I'm going to have my chef package. People love a short video. So there's another way you can do it.
Another way is
Then you have it
oh, go
on your
ahead.
website. Go ahead, Marty.
Yeah, another way is just a virtual catalog online. You can also do social share buttons, which we'll talk through social media next. But we talked about on that first slide, just the rule of 6. How do we get these items in front of your patrons 6 times before we start the live auction? Because if you're going to spend as much as you spend on your monthly mortgage payment on a live auction package, and that's what our research has shown, specifically this book we referenced called Donor-Centered Fundraising by Penelope Burke. We're actually reading that book right now. And one thing that she says is whenever you reach the amount of your monthly mortgage payment, people expect something of value in return. So if they are going to spend that much money, we want to make sure they know every single aspect of that live auction item. And now Lewis is going to talk, like social media is another way. You can share it on social media and showcase your live auction items there. That's another rule of 6 potentially. Anything to add there, Lou?
No, I think the next one I like is the displays in the room. So I think it's super to have these displays. I'd like to have a live auction table, but this is even better if you could put them on displays and make sure it's where people go by. So put that by the bar or near the silent auction area, so that everybody sees. You see one on the right here, the Helping Hands. They did all their auction items on a tall poster that was right in the middle of the foyer where everybody was gathering, having their drinks at the cocktail hour. And then the others are as you walk into the ballroom on the left, you can see these. Make sure everybody understands what you're selling, that you've got VIP experiences. I think that is awesome. The last one's digital program, but I think we kind of went through that. This is a digital program. It's a flip book, and you don't have to print anything. It's a virtual print. So then they can have that on their phones and look through the whole program on the night of the event.
Yeah, and it's nice because each page can be linked to your auction catalog in the software. So we can do QR codes, other unique things like that. And that's, leading into our bid panels. We already showed you guys this before, but this is a little bigger. And it's just nice because we can list the live auction items here. Again, this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet. So something that you can easily print. And we do offer custom bid panels as well for our events too. So if you guys are looking for custom bid panels, that's something that we can definitely provide.
Yeah. I'll also have a PowerPoint. So I think we touched on that too.